With the drywall work completed, I'm ready to install the doors. I'm a bit of a nervous wreck over this part since I've never installed a door before. I have 5 doors to get right. I thought 30-inch solid core doors at both the gaming room and mechanical areas would help reduce sound from those areas. 28-inch hollow core doors for the projector room and stairwell closet were the smallest and cheapest doors that made sense to me. And finally, a 36-inch solid core door for the theater room entrance. It's large enough to move theater seats and other items with little effort. I've been staring at these doors in my garage for ages and just want them gone already. So, taking my chances, I just started placing the doors and using a lot of shims. I've converted the theater room into a makeshift woodworking shop, using a miter saw to get the baseboards and door frames installed as I go. Jumping around between installing doors and trim, I paint the rooms with Kills 2 gray primer. Let's take a brief look at the progress so far. A few days later, and the room completely primed, I crack open the black paint. It was suggested to me that PPG Diamond Flat Matte black paint with a tint called mouse ears would solve my need for the blackest available paint. While it did look good, I will need to do better, and I'll cover that shortly. After several days, the black paint in the theater room was completed. I have a choice to make. When I designed the home theater, I did not plan for a fiber optic star ceiling. This alcove is screaming for one, and so shall it be. Putting things on hold for a bit, I attempted my first fiber optic star ceiling. I have a dedicated video for this lighted ceiling on my channel. Links will be in the description and end screen, so check it out. Before the day comes when I place the theater screen, I wanted to dampen the sound behind the screen, and to do that, I bought a few sheets of 4-inch thick acoustic foam in panels of 4 foot by 8 foot, attaching studs to the wall, then gluing and screwing the foam to the studs. This created a gap between the foam and the wall, helping to dampen the sound even further. Next, I needed to build a shelf for the projector. In case you were wondering, I'll be using the Epson Home Cinema 5050 UB 4K projector. I found these shelf brackets on Amazon and thought they would be perfect for the MDF board I expected to place the projector on. After some customization, it fit inside the opening, and all I had to do was paint it. In an effort to blacken my star ceiling, I obtained several yards of triple black velvet. Placing a sample of it on the wall made me realize I was never going to achieve the black void I wanted with paint alone. Before the carpet gets installed, I had to quickly start treating the ceiling with the black velvet. Oh, and these 4 in-ceiling speakers are the 8-inch Klipsch CDT 5800C2. If you recall one of my previous videos, I built these back boxes for the ceiling speakers, which are now packed with polyfill. With the theater room ceiling completed and the carpet finally installed, things are starting to come together quickly. I did a significant amount of work in the stairwell and all other areas of the basement that extend beyond the home theater room. Let's take a brief moment to review the work so far. With the major finishing and construction all out of the way, I get to hook up the audio-video gear for testing. To save money, I went with the Denon AVR X6400H as the heart of the theater. To confirm my hookups are good, I plug in what are to be the side surround channel bookshelf speakers as the mains. And using the largest screen I have on hand, I test to make sure all the connections are working. All systems are go. The next step is blackening the theater room with all that velvet I bought. I didn't want to install the outlet covers and speaker plates on the side walls till the black treatments were made. The darkest acoustic panels I could order from ATS Acoustics looked very black when I unboxed them. But when I got them into the theater room, they didn't stand a chance against the black velvet. They looked just as gray as the black paint. There's an entire video dedicated to just the blackening process of the theater and how I did it, so please check that out if you want to know more. Next up, I need to start building the subwoofers. The 24-inch wide diameter by 12-foot long sonotube shell I ordered from Menards has been in the way for a couple of years now. Cutting it in half, I created two 6-foot tall subwoofers, and I'll be calling them the Twin Odins. A more detailed build video is on my channel for those. Briefly, these sonotube subs stand over 6 feet high. They will be driven by the 18-inch Dayton Audio Ultimax. The tuning for the sub design is roughly around the 15 Hz range. Using the unfinished space in the mechanical room area, I do the assembly and then move the constructed subs into the theater room for finishing. When done, I place the Twin Odin subwoofers behind the screen wall and turn my attention to the main speakers. Before I can place my front main channel speakers, I must refer back to my layout drawings to check speaker clearance and screen position. I don't want the frame of the screen covering a speaker driver, and I want the tweeters to be at ear level. To make that happen, I needed to get a few concrete slabs to elevate the tower speakers by 4 inches. The tower speakers are the Klipsch RF7 III, and the center channel is the Klipsch RC64 III. I used an old AV rack for the center channel and draped some leftover speaker grill cloth over it. The theater wall is now full of speakers and ready for the screen. But before I install that, let's take a look around at the blackened theater room with all of the equipment in place. The side and back channel speakers are the Klipsch RB81 Series 2. Working most excellently are the 24 by 36 inch ATS acoustic panels filled with mineral wool insulation and wrapped with Guilford of Maine fabric. There are 6 in total, 3 on each side. I did not line the entire room with fabric, mostly because I got lazy, partially because I ran out, and realistically because I didn't need any more. Black velvet was also fashioned into curtains to cover the doors. Once the screen is installed, I will not easily get to see this view anymore. Here is another view of the center channel rack. I didn't have anywhere to sit yet, but didn't have the funds for theater seating right now, so I got these cheap seats off Amazon for $100 each. The fiber optic star ceiling looks great and was worth the effort. I have nothing else to do now but install the screen. I went with an acoustic screen by Silver Ticket, measuring 158 inches diagonally. That is a good 12 feet wide. It's the absolute largest screen I could fit in the room. Laying all the parts onto the theater room floor, I assembled it with haste. There are 2 layers for the screen. One was a black masking material to prevent reflections of objects behind the screen, and the actual screen material. All are acoustically transparent, allowing me to cover the speakers with minimal loss in fidelity. To complete the look, a black velvet skirt was made and velcroed to the screen. Moving on to the projector room, I'll itemize the list of things to note about the theater components and media server, adding to the items in use like the Denon AVR, the Klipsch speakers, and the Epson projector. I'm a proud owner of the Panasonic DP UB820 4K Ultra Blu-ray player. I also heavily rely on the NVIDIA Shield Pro for my Plex content and streaming apps. Of course, this theater wouldn't rock the foundation without my Odin subwoofers, powered by the incredible Crown XLI 3500. Everything is plugged into the CyberPower CPS 122 RMS 20 amp surge protector. This CyberPower strip completely eliminated a slight ground hum I was hearing when the crown amp is plugged into the outlet directly. The entire home theater is controlled with the Logitech Harmony Elite. Some minor programming of components was necessary, but it has been flawless since day one and a lifesaver. What I don't cover much on my channel is the media server components. A quick rundown on my server is it's just a basic PC I built some time ago and repurposed as a Plex media server. Oy vey, I need to clean. Attached to it are a few different RAID boxes that store all my content, whether it be movies, TV shows, app installations, fonts, etc. It is a basic home server with a ginormous amount of space, and a piece of junk that may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts. As previously mentioned, this PC is my primary Plex server. It streams content to every room in my home that has either an NVIDIA Shield or a TV with a built-in Plex app. I haven't paid for cable in close to 15 years. Getting into the shadier side of things, this server hosts apps such as Sonar and Radar for automated content retrieval. Even though Plex offers DLNA across the LAN, I opted to use a secondary DLNA server just for sharing high-resolution digital audio content to specific devices on my network. And finally, the media server is secured by the CyberPower PR2200 LCD SL 20-amp battery backup. This entire home theater, media room, and basement building project has been one of the greatest challenges of my life. Thank you so much for watching this 4-part video series and sticking with me along the way. If you haven't already, please check out the latest complete walkthrough video tour of the basement project in its entirety.